Hello everyone, welcome back to another art time lapse. So for this piece, it is called Flower Head, and this is a piece that I feel like I've been consistently doing every year to some degree or another, like similar ideas, similar style of it every year, and just do a little bit of a remake of it. This time I decided to venture out into a different color palette that I don't normally use, using this neon pink color. And then I'm planning on adding some like yellows and like some purple and lilacs and seeing how it goes. The reason I came up with this color scheme is actually in a dream that I have. I think it was a dream, so I thought I'll try it out. No promises that this is gonna be an amazing piece, but hey, I think it's nice time at this point to try out different color schemes, given that like it's kind of like a break in between some of my other shows and conventions. It's nice to try out different things. So adding in lots of water to make the gouache almost like watercolor consistency. I lay out the background of where the floral and the flowers are gonna be and the girl's head. This piece is almost reminiscent of like growing with nature, growing like nature, that we are constantly growing ourselves on a regular basis. Except the growth is, or the mental growth at least, is not something that's always visibly seen for people. So therefore I'm doing these flowers to kind of symbolize the growth we have in our thinking and our thought process, and how it blossoms over time. And I thought that was like such a wonderful idea, so I thought, why not, let's just try painting it out and see how it goes. I think at this point I'm a little bit lost on where to go. It's not a typical color palette that I use, so it's like, oh, am I adding yellow in the right place? Am I adding too much yellow? Am I leaving enough space for like the other colors that is gonna come forth later on? I always find it really hard to decide on when to stop coloring or stop painting, when is a piece done, or if there's something that's missing. I'd love to get my husband's opinion a lot of times, because he's really good at looking at the big picture and being really honest with my artwork, saying that like this is not good, or like you need to remake this part. Even though like I don't like to hear that kind of feedback a lot of times, he gives it to me very brutally, honestly, and I certainly do appreciate that. Over the years, I think some of my best pieces are things that my husband has been very honestly in critiquing and telling me ways I can improve it, or maybe like may be a total different direction. Usually it's not a total different direction, but it's like adding details or going back to areas I don't feel or too lazy to go back to. So thank you, husband. This is a shout out to you. So here I am using like purple and lilac to start doing some of the outlines, and you know how much I love doing outlines, because that's when you start seeing the picture come together. A lot of times I find that the art piece looks like a blob of different colors and get a little bit frustrating. It's like that part in the piece where it just doesn't look great, but hopefully when you push through, something nice will come up. I'm certain that something like an analogy like this is similar to things you'll find in life outside of just painting. How sometimes you get to this part in the process like, ooh, I'm not sure if I'm going the right direction, but let's hope for the best. And you just have to continue putting in the work and pushing through, and usually things will work out for the best, whether that product comes out ultimately what I expected, or maybe it's just a learning process for me to practice and move on to something even better in the future. So I think the girl's coming out nicely. Debating about like how many flowers I should add on to her head. Slowing it down, you can see that even adding the outlines for some of the petals for the flowers take quite a bit of time. Luckily for my style of artwork, the outlines are usually quite loose. I feel like it's not really bound by boundaries, and as a result I have a lot of artistic liberty to kind of go outside the line. Even if the petals on the bottom I didn't actually color the outline for, I'll just draw a petal where I think it should be. And I really love the liberty of that, drawing outside the lines. And here you can see if I do speed up the process, Usually at this point in the art piece, it would take me approximately, I would say, at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to where I am right here. However, I think it doesn't really take into account of the creativity and the planning that comes into play when I'm thinking about my color palette or where the flowers will go, what kind of flowers I would be. Like, the whole conceptualization of the piece usually take way longer than the execution of the piece, which is kind of unfortunate because these YouTube videos don't really reflect the conceptualization of it. But hopefully the final piece will come out a little bit nicely. I think the colors right now look a little bit dull and like blended in all together, so I definitely need to add in kind of like darker areas and then add in some highlights to make the piece stand out a little bit more. It's just a little bit right now. So I wanted to mention in this video that I want to reiterate that the process of coming up with these pieces, although they take a long time to conceptualize, I really do thoroughly enjoy playing around with the different ideas and thinking how like they will come together despite it being hard work. So now you can see I'm using some more darker acrylic wash colors, less dilution with water, so you can see how pigmented colors are when they come out of the tube itself. Really enjoy acrylic wash. I pick up mine from my local art store named Opus. This video is not sponsored by them by anyways, but I thought I'll mention it if you live in Vancouver or BC in Canada. Opus is a fantastic art store to kind of check out and just spend the day in. Again, this is not sponsored by them. It's just purely I really enjoy the service and I enjoy the variety and just enjoy exploring their store to find what else is there to play with. And I think all artists by heart, we are just like people who just like to play around with different mediums and try things out. So here I'm using my archival jelly roll pen from Sakura. It's the white color, just adding in some highlights. I know I can probably do that with white gouache as well, but it's just so much more versatile and easy for me to carry around with rather than get my palette ready and getting water ready. So this is like kind of like my cheater method of adding white highlights, and I just love how versatile it is, and it really makes a difference when I add on the white highlights, seeing like some of the eyelashes kind of highlights and pops right out after I add on the piece. Here's a closer look at how the piece looked like to date. Certainly not the final finished piece, but this is a good kind of like in between, so you can see how far I've gotten so far. I mean, it looks pretty nice already, and at this point I wasn't sure if I was finished or if I should continue adding highlights. So here I decided, hey, why not? Let's add in some white highlights. I must say, I'm not sure if I made the right move at this stage. I think it looked pretty good earlier. Now it just looks a little bit busy to me. What do you guys think? I just want to share the process with you to show you that like not every single decision I make is a great idea and it doesn't always execute the way I want it to. And unlike computer mediums, you can't Control Z and undo these pieces for traditional art, but it is what it is. So this is the final piece that I've been working on, named Flower Head. I hope you enjoyed this art time lapse and kind of exploring another style artwork for myself. And hopefully I'll see you next time in another video. Take care and stay creative, everyone. Bye for now.